We're halfway through this WNBA season. Today, I want to run through my first WNBA mock draft for 2025, and to decide this draft order, we're going to run a sim on the great website Tankathon. If the draft lottery was today, Los Angeles would have the highest odds, followed by Washington via Atlanta, and Dallas. This is my first spin, so no cheating. In the last expansion draft in 2008, Atlanta wasn't included in the draft lottery, but was instead given the 4th pick. We're going to follow that same draft process here for this video, so Golden State will be picking at number 4, followed by Dallas at 5. Yes, I know the draft is very far away, we don't know what team strategies are going to be this offseason, but we already have 3 to 4 year college sample sizes or international sample sizes on these players, so my prospect grades aren't going to change that drastically over the next 10 months. So this mock is just based on what I would do, not what I expect teams to do when the draft happens, because there are definitely some players in this mock draft that I'm just higher on or lower on than the consensus. Anyways, long intro, let's get right into it. To open this mock draft, pretty simple. Paige Bueckers is the number 1 prospect in this class. You see the numbers, you've seen what she's done in her college career. For Paige to not go number 1 in this class, it would be a shocker. Just based on everything we've seen so far, how Paige is as a prospect, there's not many flaws with her game. Awesome scorer, pretty much versatile at all 3 levels, can defend at a high level, has really taken strides over the last year as a defender. The passing ability, her processing speed is out of this world. For Washington here, Paige is the perfect player to build this franchise around, have Shakira Austin, Aaliyah Edwards, her former college teammate at UConn. It's a no-doubt pick. We'll keep it short. Paige Bueckers at 1. At 2, Kiki Iriafen stays in Southern California and is taken here by Los Angeles. I'll say it, it's not a great fit. LA already has De'Arca Hamby, Cameron Brink, and Rickea Jackson. Ideally, you want Rickea to be a 3 or a 4, not a 2 at all. Brink, probably a 4 or 5. Hamby, a 4 or 5. So ideally, LA lands Paige Bueckers. That would be the perfect scenario for them. But either way, for Washington or LA, whoever's at number 2, it's not going to be the greatest fit, but you take best player available in my opinion. There's a clear tier separator from 2 to 3 in this class. It's not a major gap, but it's a somewhat decent gap, and for that reason, Kiki Iriafen, what she can do on both ends, versatile defender, awesome play finisher, good positional passer as well. There's so much to like with Kiki, and just the overall stride she's made in general. The developmental arc is insane with her game. Washington is back up at number 3, and they take Ajsa Sivka. You might be unfamiliar with her game. She is an awesome prospect, not someone that you usually see in the lottery conversations and early mock drafts, but what she can do as a dribble pass shoot 6'4" wing is insane. A type of player that Mike Thibault, this front office in Washington, looks for in their players. She is the perfect complementary player to put alongside Paige Bueckers, Aaliyah Edwards, Ariel Atkins, Shakira Austin. With what she can do as an off-ball shooter, her club team as an 18-year-old was so comfortable having her defend as a helper, having her play the nail, having her, defend point of attack, come from the weak side. They had her doing a lot of different things. Awesome spot-up shooter, the movement shooting, the live dribble passing is also super fun for her size. She's someone we've seen Washington really look for in the draft. They've taken Midseason, they've taken multiple players from Belgium, they've taken players across the world, and with what she can do as a connector, it's such a valuable skill set for Washington. There's multiple players that could go here, but for me, she has an awesome ceiling. She is my 3rd or 4th prospect in this class overall from a big board standpoint. But yeah, I just think she also, another thing to consider is she might have legitimate WNBA interest. She played at Hoop Summit in Oregon earlier this year, where they played against some of the top high school seniors, and she was also at Basketball Without Borders at WNBA All-Star a couple weeks ago, depending on whenever you're watching this. So overall, if this is the first time you're hearing about her game, seeing her highlights, please get familiar with Ajsa. Moving to the fourth pick, Golden State is on the clock. We have no idea what their strategy is from a team building standpoint or their roster construction, what they want to do with their franchise. But for me, you go highest upside as a franchise in the expansion stages, and Janiah Barker is exactly that. She has second best upside in the class potential behind Bueckers. The skill set, her physical tools, the shot creation at 6'4", the size in general. She's so strong and physical, can play both the 4 and 5 spot. Barker, the biggest question for her has just been efficiency, but also aggression level and how can she make free throws, because she's had consistent free throw struggles dating back to high school, similar to Nalissa Smith in this way. But if you tell me Barker becomes a Nalissa Smith type offensive player and is just tiers better as a defender, that is an all-star player. That's just such a valuable player. Nalissa's problem has been her defense. Barker is such a valuable defender. So for Golden State, you take a bet on that player here at 4. Now, Dallas is up at number 5. If I'm Dallas, my strategy here is no more developmental bigs. You've done enough of that. Just go with the best point guard available, and that is Olivia Miles. For me, even though you did just draft Carla Leite in last year's draft, it doesn't hurt to have 2 good point guards. We've seen with Dallas, they've had to bring in Odyssey Sims, these different hardship players to get minutes. If you have multiple point guards that you can run your second unit, have your starting unit, always having that playmaker on the court is so valuable. For Miles, she has all-star upside, a very good passer. She can really get downhill, get into her floater. The defense isn't bad either. The main question is just three-point shooting. But if I'm Dallas, you just need passing play. You need people that can set up the offense, and that would be so valuable to this team. A main reason I wanted to do this video this early was just to get an idea of where I would go with these teams from a team building standpoint. And Chicago is a perfect example of that. You have Kennedy Carter, you have Angel Reese, you have Camila Cardoso. What do they all have in common? They can't shoot. So if I'm Chicago, for the next 3 years of drafting, I do not take a player that isn't a plus shooter and can't space the floor. You need as much shooting around them. You need as much connected play, connected passers, not any ball stoppers. And Sonia Citron is that exact player. She keeps the ball moving. She can really make shots from 3, consistent free throw shooter, is also a really good team defender as well. You just need wings. You need shooting. And Sonia Citron is exactly that. The upside might not be insane. You're not talking all W upside, but you just need consistency on the wing. The Indiana at number 7, the needs are pretty simple here. You need defense, you need wings that can defend and play alongside Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, etc., etc. Indiana is 11th in defensive rating this season. Only team worse is Dallas. So take the best guard wing defender in the class, and that is Saniya Rivers. Rivers has played a lot of point guard at NC State, so she's someone that could run second units as a primary ball handler, have her as your combo guard alongside Kelsey Mitchell. There's a lot of things Saniya Rivers can do. The main issue has just been efficiency, finishing, three-point shooting. But for Indiana, you can work with that. You need defense. And with Rivers, she also excels in transition play. That is when she's at her best on offense. So Rivers to Indiana is an awesome fit for me. At 8, New York is on the clock, and they select Dominique Malonga out of France, center, 6'5", 6'6"-ish. Just an awesome athlete with a lot of upside. Malonga is a lottery type talent in this class. Her upside is insane. All defensive upside. What she could do down the line is unreal. She's already on the French national team as a teenager. The reason you take Malonga here for New York, I know you have many bigs on the roster, but your team is already this good. You have so much depth. Just take best player available. We've seen them take French prospects in the past. If you want to keep her overseas for a couple years, it makes sense. And just having this player in your infrastructure, someone you can have down the line, is just solid for me. Malonga has all the upside in the world. I made a video on her already. Just an awesome prospect, and someone that, if I'm New York, I'm really excited about. Las Vegas is up at number 9, and for me, I would take Raven Johnson, point guard out of South Carolina. I love Sydney Colson, one of the best personalities, people in the entire league, but you need a real backup point guard, someone you can really trust, And Raven Johnson is exactly that. She is someone that can really defend, awesome point of attack defender. You saw it against Caitlin Clark. Pretty much any team in the country. South Carolina's undefeated for a reason. It's not only Raven, but her point of attack defense was so valuable to this team. The offense is a question. She's someone that could go back to school in an extra year just because she has that red shirt, but she is draft eligible. You need defense. You need passing on the bench. It also is very helpful. More than almost any team in the league, I trust Las Vegas. I trust Becky Hammond, that entire coaching staff, to improve shooters. They have all the resources, the practice facilities. You've seen it with Jackie Young. They've shown the ability to develop shooting. So Raven Johnson to Vegas is just perfect. One of my favorite basketball players to watch at any level right now is Te-Hina Paopao. Really sad that she didn't enter the draft in 2024 because she definitely was a top 10 prospect for me. In this class, is probably still around that number 10 mark, but there's just so much more depth. For Seattle, getting Te-Hina Paopao here at 10 would just be awesome, an awesome fit. You already have your core locked up for next season. That includes, obviously, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Ezzy Mabregor, Nneka Ogwumike, Jordan Horston, Jewel Lloyd. Getting Te-Hina Paopao, who is young, can really shoot off the ball, would just be an awesome fit alongside them. But she's also an awesome fit for the future. She really fits with having Ezzy as the main player for your franchise after this team in a couple years. So for me, Te-Hina Paopao, the shooting, the connected passing, what she can do as a point guard, also as a combo guard, the floaters. The defense has gotten better as well at South Carolina. Paopao is just a blast to watch. For Minnesota at number 11, you already have so much depth at the front court spot. There's no elite center on the board if you're looking to add more size here. So for me, just get more depth in the backcourt, and that is JJ Quinterly, combo guard out of West Virginia, 5'8". For Quinterly, she is an elite point of attack defender and also keeps the ball moving. She's nonstop moving on offense. You never see her stop moving. And for Minnesota, this system, that's what their offense is built on. Ball movement, constant off-ball moving, cutting. So if you can have JJ Quinterly in this system under Cheryl Reeve, I think it'd just be a perfect developmental spot for her. But also it makes sense just because Minnesota has proven that they don't need traditional point guards. They can have a bunch of combo guards and then have awesome passers in the front court, and then it just all works together seamlessly. So I like the fit here. Like I said with Chicago's first pick, taking Sonia Citron, you need as much shooting as possible. You need as much wings and size on the wing as possible. So for me, Bree Hall out of South Carolina is an awesome fit. She's just a good shooter. She defends. She plays hard. I just think it's a good fit. Pretty simple here. Bree Hall is not the highest upside prospect. She's a little bit stiff. But whenever you're talking about highest floors in the class, I just believe Bree Hall is going to be a WNBA player. Someone that is probably going to get a first contract, a second contract, a third contract. This is a whole separate tangent. If you're at this point in the video, okay, you probably are interested in what I'm going to say. I met Bree Hall at the SEC tournament. I was getting wingspan measurements for as much prospect as possible, future prospects from this tournament. Bree Hall, whenever I measured a wingspan, 6 foot with a 6'5" wingspan. +5 is one of the highest of almost any prospect you're going to find. So whenever you combine the physical tools with what she can do as a defender, just the instincts, but also the shooting, you need these players in any modern WNBA system. It's just a must. With the final pick of this mock draft, Phoenix selects Georgia Amoore, point guard out of Kentucky. Virginia Tech transfer, now at Kentucky, followed her head coach, Kenny Brooks. With Amoore, she is an awesome shooter, an awesome off-ball player. I know you have Diana Taurasi, Natasha Cloud, but if DT actually retires this upcoming offseason, I'll believe it when I see it. Anyways, either way, whether DT retires or is still on the roster next season, you need guard play, and it's just so valuable for what Phoenix wants to do. They want to bomb threes. Amoore is the highest volume shooter in the class, and I believe she fits well with Natasha Cloud. Cloud isn't an awesome scorer, but Cloud can really defend. So you put Amoore off the ball, Cloud on the ball. On defense, Cloud can handle the tougher assignments, Amor can get the easier assignment, but also whenever Cloud is on the bench, you have Amor who can run a backup offense. She is a good pick and roll ball handler, can really manipulate defenders as a passer. It's probably a broken record by now, but having multiple ball handlers is a must in the modern day. Having many avenues of success is also so valuable because if someone gets hurt or someone's struggling, having as many quality ball handlers on a WNBA team in a rotation can really be a game changer. I'll probably have many questions. Oh, why'd you forget this player? Why'd you forget that player? This class is just so incredibly deep that someone has to fall out of the first round. So in this case, here are 6 players that were in consideration for me, but didn't crack the top 13. First, AZ Fudd. You see her in first rounds of many mock drafts, many boards. I'm just concerned with multiple torn ACLs. I don't know how to evaluate her or what to grade her as just yet. I want to see her or what she looks like post-injury because that'll really determine where she goes. If she looks really good, she's a first-round pick. If she looks bad, the injuries are still a question. She's hurt. She could fall very far in this class. Layla also out of Texas, someone I'm excited about. Aneesa Morrow is someone that you'll see in the lottery of some boards. I'm concerned about the shooting and being an undersized big with some defensive questions as well. Charlize Ledger-Walker is another player. 20 ACL, only 1 though compared to Fudd's 2. She could barely hit a 3 last year. It was bad, some really bad stretches. The athleticism isn't the highest level for a point guard. The defense isn't great, but there's just not many passers like her. And in a league like this, having as many passers that are able to run offense is valuable. Cheyenne Sellers is someone that is a wing. The shooting is hit or miss, and that's why she's not a first-round pick for me. And then Saniya Fagan out of South Carolina is someone I'm also really interested in. She would be starting playing 30-plus minutes for almost any college program. So because she's out South Carolina, the numbers aren't going to pop off the screen, but the passing, the athleticism, it's actually a similar situation to Letitia Mehier, who didn't average 10 points at South Carolina, ended up becoming a first-round pick. These are the type of players that I think WNBA teams just value more than the public would, just because the numbers aren't as insane as Aneesa Morrow, Kiki Iriafen. Just you have to look beyond the numbers with a lot of players, and Saniya Fagan is the perfect example of that. Anyways, if you made it to this point in the video, thank you. I appreciate your support so much. Plenty of WNBA draft coverage is on the way. We're at the midway point. There's no games for a minute now with the Olympic break, so I want to do this video to really just assess where every team is at. And if the season ended today, this is where I believe they should look to improve in the draft. It's early. Some of these players will rise. Some of them will fall off the board completely. It's possible it happens every year. And if you're interested in that, covering the draft and just insight into the league, covering the game beyond the narratives, this is the channel for you. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see y'all next time.